Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English edition for tonight headlines. We have Djibouti Palace Kempinski Hotel certifies to international standards. For international scene, India passes the 5 million COVID-19 milestone. Welcome to our newsroom. The Djibouti Palace Kempinski Hotel certified to international standards. The Minister of Town Planning and Tourism, Mohammed Abdul Qadir Musa Hilem, attended the awarding of the ISO 22018 Certificate Food Safety Management System by the Quality Cabinet Djibouti Audit Certification and Inspection Company for Djibouti Palace Kempinski for its food safety management system. Djibouti Palace Kempinski is the first establishment certified to international standards. The ISO 22000 standards is based on 4 criteria: good hygiene practices, hazard analysis principle, effective internal and external communication, and operational tracking system. In other words, the ISO standards aims to globally harmonize the requirements in terms of food safety management. It is an international standard that defines the requirement to enable the hotel to plan and implement a food safety system and is full of other requirements. The director of Kempinski recalled that obtaining this certificate is based on the concept of continuous improvement. More detail in this report.
Palace Kempinski est, je crois, le premier établissement à être certifié au standard international ISO 22000.
Djibouti's Palace Kempinski is, I believe, the first establishment to be certified to the international standard, the management system for food safety. We began this preparation with this certification, of course, with the Djibouti Society for Auditing and Certification and Quality Inspection. I would like to emphasize that achieving this certification has been a very laborious task, given, of course, the scope of the parameters required. That is why, to this day, the hotel can be proud, because this certification will enable it to meet the requirements of the textual provisions on hygiene and food safety. Today is a special day for the Hotel Kempinski. We received the famous and much envied certification. It is recognition, it is an achievement, and first of all, our employees, whom I congratulate for the trainees who guided them. I think, of course, of our managers, our executives, who brought their know-how and their directives. This is a promise we make to our customers. It is a guarantee for our guests, and above all, an international recognition that is the very image of Djibouti Palace Kempinski.
The great family of Sultanate of Tajarrah informs that the funeral call ceremony called Rabeina in the memory of our late 33 Dardar, His Majesty Abdul Qadir Muhammad, will take place during the period from Wednesday 23 to Tuesday 29 September 2020. 7 days. This commemorative event, which is usually organized day by day, 1 year after the death of the Dardar, will exceptionally be organized this time with 4 months delay due to COVID-19 pandemic. The ceremony will take place in Tajarrah, seat of the Sultanate, where the mourning will be officially closed. Under the aegis of State Secretariat for Youth and Sports, the Athletic Federation yesterday organized the championship. The long-awaited athletics finals took place in the Guled Stadium. Under the high patronage of State Secretariat for Youth and Sports, and anxious to closely follow the performance achieved in these sports, whose victories continues to spread Djibouti's fame through the world. In addition to the finalist athletes of the different series and host of young supporters, the event was attended by the State Secretary for Youth and Sports, His Excellency Hassan Mohammed Kamil, surrounded by his close collaborators such as the Director of Sports at the Mr. Abshir Ali Hassan, and the President of the Djiboutian Athletic Federation, Saeed Ismail Noor, and his staff, as well as the great champions of athletics such as Ayanle Suleiman and Mumin Gelle, among others competitors of all series of sport discipline from the Center Sports Study of Ali Sabir. Several clubs of the capital fought for a place on the podium, especially arranged for the occasion against the background of the sound of the national flag of the national anthems with the trophy awards. In a brief intervention, the president of the Djibouti Athletics Federation, Mr. Saeed Ismail, declared himself enthusiastic about the smooth running of these finals despite a postponement due to the confinement caused by COVID-19. Mr. Saeed, president of the Djiboutian Athletic Federation, was optimistic about better performance in terms of minimum in the short term, thanking in pacing the State Secretariat for Youth and Sport for its constant and unconditional support. For his part, the State Secretary for Youth and Sports, His Excellency Hassan Mohamed Kamil, expressed his satisfaction with the good organizations of these athletics finals. Listen to this report.
La pression, on ne peut pas la mesurer, dans la mesure où il y a tous les finales qui se succèdent.
My impression, you cannot measure it, as there are all the finals that follow one another today. We have the track and field final on Friday night, and we will have the soccer final. But you have to know that I'm a bit impressed by the young talents that are coming out. All the more so as the COVID's history has slowed us down a bit in inactivity, especially in training. Little by little, I think they have resumed training, and today we are seeing a great competition. Already in 1 week, they are going to organize training for the referees in terms of athletics, and just 1 month later, there will be a detection all over the country. How is it going to be done? It's not only running, but there will be shot put. There will be the jump that will integrate everything that is running. We must also add that every time we see an athletic competition, we see the long runs. That means the back and half back. But this time, I think that athletics, the federation will integrate in the 100 meters, 200 meters relay races to try to see if our young Djiboutian can compete also with the region and the continent. I think that athletics and promoters today, we have the die which is open wide, great athletes on the north, and also make competitions there so that also the north can present its potential.
The Kempinski Palace Hotel hosted a workshop this morning on the work of the joint program review and planning missions between World Health Organization and the Ministry of Public Health. The launching of this planning workshop took place in the presence of the Acting Secretary General of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Maike Mohamed Moussa, the WHO representative in Djibouti, Dr. Ahmed Zoutan, the technical advisor to the Minister of Health, Mr. Omar Ali, and the director of the DPC, Ms. Noura Abdi, better known by its English acronym PRM. It is a periodic and consensual exercise to determine these priority interventions for the biennial period 2020-2021, bringing together several directorates. The frank, inclusive, and transparent discussions will integrate the strategic imperatives, particularly with regard to the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the various public health objectives that will constitute the joint work plan between the World Health Organization and the Department of Health. During 2 days, the participants will examine and validate the main lines of action to improve the health of our fellow citizens, in particular through the prevention of non-communicable diseases, the promotion of healthy lifestyles, the quality of care, and the development of a more efficient health system. The WHO representative, Dr. Zoutan, went back over the foundations of the bilateral consultation exercises between the Ministry of Health and the World Health Organization. The Acting Secretary General of Health, Dr. Maike Mohamed Moussa, first of all praised the effort made by the Djibouti government and first and foremost the strong commitment at the highest level of His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, whose leadership has determined the successful results in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. Listen to the report.
Ça a été une riposte intersectorielle, interministérielle qui a impliqué tous les maillons.
Indeed, it was an interministerial, intersectoral response that involved all the links in the health and access chain of Djibouti's public sector. I would also like to emphasize, I really think for me personally, something that has particularly marked me in this involvement, the leadership from the highest level at the top of the state in this response, that it was a response at the political level as it was organized, but also the involvement up to the technical level, up to the operational level. It is thanks to this leadership of the head of state, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, that this response has benefited from the momentum it has known, and above all, that this response has benefited from the means it has known. The workshop or retreat of these 2 days, and it is aimed at planning the program of the joint program that will be signed between the Ministry of Health and the World Health Organization. We hope that this planning will be based on the needs, on the priorities of the country that will be aligned with the National Health Development Program. whose exercise has just been completed not long ago. And even more, that you will agree on the priorities that have emerged from the last few months of the fight against COVID. Therefore, the priorities that have been identified were on how we can capitalize them and how can we ensure that the weak links that have been identified during this struggle benefit from the training through these activities.
A closing ceremony on the training on intervention and investigation of trafficking in human beings and in smuggling of migrants was held under the high patronage of Colonel Wais Omar Bogore, commander of the Coast Guards, at the training center of Camp Dorale in the afternoons of Wednesday, 15 September 2020. The training provided by experts members of the Civipol WBM program took place over 3 days for the benefit of Coast Guard staff, National Gendarmerie staff, and those of the National Police. This training, which is of significant importance, fits perfectly with our training project for the benefit of our staff in order to fight against the criminal acts of traffickers in human beings in the maritime domain, as the sea is a compulsory passage for this trafficking in human beings. This training has also made it possible to further strengthen the coordination links between the different agents of our security forces who intervene in each one's files of interventions in the fight against trafficking in human beings. The ceremony ended with the presentations of certificate to the trainees of our different security forces, namely the National Police, National Gendarmerie, and the Coast Guard. The regional coordinator of Civipol BMM, Marco Buffo, praised the quality of the organization of this training course and stressed the considerable usefulness that this training will bring the trainees from the various security forces. Listen to the report.
On est venu ici avec une équipe formée de représentants de diverses expériences.
We came here with a team made of various experiences. A former maritime gendarme, we discussed with him what the prerogatives of the Coast Guard are when it comes to the managing difficult situations in relation to migration and possibly also human trafficking and the same thing. In fact, in relation to the investigations with the police captain and captain of the border police of the immigration service, we shared experience, we shared problems, and we tried to see how to better manage investigations on this phenomena. The issue is important for the whole world. It means that in each country there are different forms of this phenomena, but they are more and more related. We can achieve deformability in a few harmonized measures. So thank you very much. I thank the authority who are here. I would also like to thank the participants of the Coast Guard and police training because they are really participated actively and shared their ideas.
Colonel Wais Omar Bogore, for his part, commanders of the Coast Guard, who gave the closing remarks of the trainees, indicate his complete satisfaction with the holding of this training, which will undoubtedly strengthen the capacity of the participants in the fight against human trafficking. Listen to the report.
Permettez-moi tout d'abord de remercier cette honorable assemblée pour sa présence à l'occasion de cette formation de clôture.
Allow me first of all to thank the Assembly for its presence on the occasion of this closing session of the training entitled Interventions and the Code on Human Trafficking and Migrant Smuggling, which was given by experts from the civil program. During the 3 days of this training, 20 members of the Coast Guard employed in the geological field and in the field of maritime patrols and search and rescue operations at sea took full advantage of the expertise and experience of these experts. It should be noted that the personnel of the National Gendarmerie and the National Police were able to join this training in order to strengthen the operational integration between our different national institutions, which each at its own level interview any operation to combat the smuggling of migrants and trafficking in persons. I would like to take this opportunity to warmly thank and express our gratitude to all those involved in any way in the smooth running of this training, be it our partners who effectively ensured the relationship with our partners. Without interest, to reiterate my sincerest thanks to the experts who have transmitted their knowledge in the most beautiful way, their knowledge and their professional experience to the agents of our different national security forces, namely the Coast Guard, the National Gendarmerie, and the National Police. I am strongly convinced that the agents who participated in this training opt to seize the opportunity and will be able to translate their acquired knowledge in the field in a professional manner.
The Center for Social Action and Women's Empowerment yesterday organized a workshop to raise awareness of training courses in sewing, hairdressing, and cooking. With the financial support of the Center for Leadership and Entrepreneurship, these courses are given to young girls who have dropped out of school and are not in school. With the aim of facilitating their professional integration, beneficiaries will follow the same programs as that of Bul'aus Training Center to obtain the vocational training certificate issued by the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training. This sensitization workshop was attended by the technical advisor of the Minister of Family, Ms. Nabila Salman Hassan, the Director of Kazaf, Ms. Nima Yunis Hosh, the Director of Gender Promotions, Ms. Yasmin Abdul Magid, the Head of the Legal Affairs Department, Ms. Araksan Ali Ahmed, as well as the President of 20 associations of Balbala. In all, about 100 women and girls from the Balbala municipality participate in this workshop. The objective of this workshop is to inform the leading associations of Balbala on the old and new training courses such as language, French and English that Kazaf will provide from 13 September 2020. The National Office of Water and Sanitation, ONIAD, was confronted with an unprecedented event. A foreign and private company started illegal works and constructions on the one of the catchment areas at ONIAD located in the Artas region, more precisely in the Merjog. This private company unfortunately damaged one of the large pipes that supplied drinking water to the capital. This breakage caused the loss of 10,000 cubic meters of water, which caused a water shortage in the capital and the surrounding areas of the Merjog and Duda. As soon as they were alerted, the ONIAD agents moved to the areas in question after huge works that lasted about 10 to 11 hours. ONIAD agents have succeeded in repairing the breakage at these locations where there are many boreholes and that have been secured. To better guarantee serene supply, ONIAD's various managers took turns thanking its agents who worked really hard to carry out this work. They then sent a message to the public authority to secure ONIAD's various catchment area. Within the framework of the impact assessment studies of community mutual development scheme undertaken by the Ministry of Women and Family in 42 beneficiaries locality, a specialized monitoring and evaluating team from the Ministry consisting of the Minister of Family, Technical Advisor Ms. Ali Omar, and the Head of the Studies and Statistics Department, Mr. Yahya Jimale, began works on 14 September in the 5 regions of the interior of the country for a period of 1 week from 14 to 24 September 2020. These missions, which benefit from the financial support of the local UNFPA offices, aims to assist the qualitative changes brought about by the creation of community mutual societies for the development of the target localities. During the evaluation mission, the aim is also to organize focus groups and raise awareness among local leaders on the importance of family planning and birth spacing for family well-being. At the end of the mission, an inventory will be presented as well as a development plan on the consolidations of the empowerment of Djiboutian women and girls, and in particular on family planning. Abdul Muhammad Ali Makki regret the announcement the death of the late Muhammad Ali Makki, who died in France in the city of Nantes this Sunday. The late Muhammad Ali Makki, born in 1963, leaves a large family behind his death. He is announced to his large family living in the countries in Tajorat in Djibouti and Addis Ababa, Awash, Warar and Dulassa in Ethiopia, sharing the grief of the bereaved family. Udum Abdallah Yusuf addresses their messages of condolence to the family of the late Muhammad Ali Makki. May Allah welcome him in his eternal paradise and may the earth be light to him. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. For the international scene, to the Palestinian, the first rocket had been fired Tuesday evening by the Palestinian resistance in the Gaza Strip toward Israel on the occasions of the signing in Washington of agreement that normalize relations between the Hebrew state and two Arab countries followed Wednesday mornings by further firing and retaliatory strikes by the Israeli occupation force in the Gaza Strip. Security sources and witnesses reported airstrikes by the Israeli occupation on Gaza, and the Israeli army confirmed on Wednesday that it bombed Hamas sites in Gaza Strip overnight in retaliation for rocket fired from the Palestinian enclave toward the Hebrew state. The Hamas resistance movement on Wednesday warned Israel of a new military escalation in the wake of rocket fire and Israeli retaliatory strikes in recent hours. Yoshihide Suga is elected Prime Minister to succeed Shinzo Abe in Japan. Yoshihide Suga, 71, was elected on Wednesday as Japan's new Prime Minister by Parliament, replacing Shinzo Abe, who resigned for health reasons. Yoshihide Suga, who had already triumphantly won Monday's the internal elections on the Liberal Democratic Party (LDP) to become its new leader, promised to continue the policy of his predecessor, who was in power since late 2012. Yoshihide Suga obtained on Wednesday 314 votes out of the 462 valid votes in the lower house of parliament, where the LDP has a comfortable majority with its coalitionist ally, the Komeito Party, and a simple majority was required. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.